Camping in a forest is an adventure everyone must do at least once in their lifetime. These are quiet and serene, free from the noise and pollution of big cities, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be cautious in the wilderness. Not all trees in forests are safe for humans to touch, from trees that produce deadly poisons to the ones whose seeds explode like a hand grenade once struck with force. Forests around the world have all sorts of fatal and hostile trees that don't like humans coming close. Today we'll introduce you to some very dangerous plants that you should never even think about approaching, no matter how tempted you are. But first, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our upcoming releases. The Little Apple of Death. If you ever get a chance to relax on the beaches of the Caribbean, you may come across trees having apple-like fruit lining the coast. You'll be tempted to get closer as they provide you remarkable shade, but you need to be vigilant around this predatory plant. Red band markings are visible on the trunks of these trees. You ought to be extra careful and leave the area, as this tree is the manchineel tree. It's one of the most toxic trees in the world. It secretes a toxic milky white sap that's full of skin irritants so strong it can cause blisters as soon as it comes into contact with human skin. It can also cause second-degree burns. A drop of the sap, if put in a human eye, can result in blindness. This sap, if dissolved in rainwater, can be even more dangerous. If vapors of this tainted water are inhaled, it can irritate and burn the inner lining of your lungs. Keeping in view of extreme danger, the locals have ensured to mark the trunks of the manchineel tree with red bands and also add warning signs. It also produces a small green apple-like fruit, locally known as the beach apple. It is a fatal fruit as described by a British tourist, Nicola, who took a bite. Initially, it tasted sweet, but she was not able to swallow it, and her throat suffered excruciating pain for several hours. Persons who swallow the fruit accidentally suffered from inflamed and blistered mouths and severe digestion problems. Ominous oranges. You might consider this bulbous fruit to be a type of orange, but it is in fact not an orange. If you peel off and chow down the fruit, there are chances you may not survive. This is the Strychnus nox vomica, and is generally known as the strychnine tree. Strychnine is an effective poison found in every part of the tree and most prominently in the seeds. If someone ingests it in larger quantities, strychnine can result in involuntary skeletal muscle contractions. It causes the muscles to convulse and tighten to the extent that one's head, neck and spinal column seize into a bridging arch position. This dangerous tree is found in India and Southeast Asia. Surprisingly, it's credited with controlling the spread of the bubonic plague to these regions, as it killed the European rat population that carried the virus to these areas. Brutal bunyas. Australia is a vast and diverse terrain, home to some of the most violent plants and animals. Certain ancient trees found in Australia are a hazard because of their pine cones. Bunya pines are believed to date back by scientists at least to the Jurassic era, about 199 million years ago, and they're ancient trees that usually grow to a height of more than 100 feet and have rigid and sharp leaves. You must wear protective gear while handling its leaves. Between December and March, bunya trees shed substantial pine cones, weighing up to 40 pounds, and if a pine cone falls on a human being from a height of 100 feet, well, there's a good chance he or she might not survive. In 2015, Sean Mace rested under a bunya pine when a 16-pound cone fell on his head. He had to undergo 2 major surgeries. Seeds of pine cones are edible and form a regular part of the diet of several indigenous Australians. Several tree trunks bear the carved hand and footholds used by the Aboriginals for harvesting the bunya pine cones. The cold killer tree. In addition to manchineel, the Caribbean has another dangerous tree known as the Pisonia tree, having thick canopies which lure birds to nest inside its branches. The Pisonia depends on animals for carriage of its seeds far from the parent plant. It releases sticky, gooey seeds which adhere to the bird's feathers. These pods are so sticky that they're capable of entirely incapacitating birds, as some of them might be lugging about more than 200 seeds. The birds can neither fly nor move and are not able to get rid of these seeds. Therefore, the poor birds die due to starvation, fatigue or falling prey to predators. So far, botanists have not found the reason for this phenomenon, as the tree gets no material or apparent benefit out of all of this. It can even harm humans if one doesn't exercise due care. Trippy Tree. The pretty flowers dangling from this tree seem very attractive. These beautiful exotic petals are known as the angel's trumpets. However, those who know about their hazardous attributes would rather call them devil's trumpets. Officially, this plant is called Brugmansia. It was native to the wilds of South America, but can also be found in populated areas. Many people consider it an ornamental plant, most suitable to be placed in a pot on a patio. Hold on, it's also one of the most toxic trees. Its toxins can be fatal for both humans and animals. In the most suitable native climates, Brugmansia grows upward and can attain a height of up to 20 feet. The whole tree is covered with about a foot-long trumpet-shaped flowers. You must be aware that any contact with any part of this plant can cause anticholinergic syndrome in the central nervous system. It can leave the sufferer entirely paralyzed and lead to confusion. Keeping in view its toxicity, the ecologists are forced to wear hazmat suits as routine gear while working with it. Its toxin can also trigger visual and auditory hallucinations. Scientists show that hallucinations caused by the toxin are pretty terrifying, and any miscalculation in handling this tree can literally become a nightmare for you. In 2006, a young man was admitted to the hospital as he had drunk a cup of Red Angel trumpet tea. It was reported that he suffered throes of vivid hallucination. He even cut off his own tongue. Hidden honey locust. Hidden honey locust trees are found all across the US, and their leaves present an incredible shade of orange in the fall. You need to be quite careful while lurking under the hidden honey locust tree, as its sharp spear-like thorns are approximately 4 inches long, and some of these can grow up to 11 inches. It's interesting to know that flick knives with blades longer than 2.5 inches are illegal to carry in most states of the USA. Well, you can call it a gangster tree. Its flowers have a strong sweet scent, but if you dare to get close enough to get a sniff, you may come face to face with these huge thorns. These thorns are so dangerous and nasty that they're known to puncture the tires of field tractors. Some people narrate horrifying tales of these thorns piercing through the skin of several persons and even fracturing the bones. It's believed by some that these thorns evolved to protect the tree from massive animals like woolly mammoths that used to wander on the earth during the world's last ice age. Although these dangerous animals have become extinct, the hidden honey locust tree has not shed away its vast weapons. It's interesting to note that the close cousin of the honey locust, the black locust tree, has developed its thorny weapons a bit further, as it possesses fewer and shorter spikes. However, it equips them with the poisonous phytotoxin known as robin. It can result in muscular weakness and kidney failure. You must be extremely careful if you observe a tree with thorny spikes and immediately move away from it. Humans don't really pose a threat to them, like the woolly mammoths would have. You need not to worry, but keep your senses and just avoid contact with this hazardous tree. Weird whistling. The savannas of equatorial East Africa are immense rolling plains with scarcely scattered trees and vegetation. The region has a highly silent and seemingly secure landscape. However, you can observe an odd, eerie whistling which presents an exception. Well, this mysterious whistle is not produced by any bird. The whistling thorn makes it. It's borne by an acacia tree that can reach up to the height of 18 feet. Its growth is not very interesting, but on either side of a swollen vine, the tree possesses tens of pairs of huge spikes. These spikes usually reach 3 inches in length. The actual concern is not related to the points, but the swollen bases of these thorns, which are naturally hollow, which makes them the perfect spot for a variety of insects who use them as residing places. Ants may only use these cavities as living space. They live in a symbiotic relationship using the hollows of the swollen vines for building their nests and forming part of the tree's defense mechanism. The fire ants defend the tree by swarming out of their nests and attacking any intruders who might dare to take risks and fiddle with the tree. Fire ants attack ferociously and typically cause instant and intense pain, which swiftly gives way to itching and severe skin irritation, which can prolong from a few hours to a few days. Worker fire ants behave like determined soldiers. They won't give up and ensure the completion of the task at any cost. Ant colonies relocate their bases every few years to another swollen vine, while leaving behind a vacant hollow thorn. When the wind blows, it whistles through the old open cavities and abandoned vines, which makes the tree threateningly whistle in the wind. Well, if you hear an ominous whistle blowing while traveling through the African savannas, just don't be horrified, maintain calm and stay composed. You will not be harmed, as the whistling tree will not chase you. Gimpy. Don't let the name Gimpy fool you. Sure, it sounds kinda cute and definitely nowhere close to giving the impression that it is in fact dangerous. Gimpy packs a nasty surprise. Okay, full disclosure, this one is not a tree but a plant, but deserves a special mention here because it is a fascinating species which is also poisonous. It is commonly found in the rainforests of northeast Australia and is a species of stinging plants. When entomologist Marina Hurley discovered them while undertaking a study as part of James Cook University, she wasn't expecting things to go as wrong as they did. The whole plant is covered with a layer of stinging hair and can deliver a potent neurotoxin when touched. Hurley, even with her protective gear, got a dose of this neurotoxin. The symptoms were mild in the beginning, like sneezing, watery eyes and runny nose, but soon became worse. She had to be taken to the hospital where she described the feeling as being burnt with hot acid and also electrocuted at the same time. Fortunately, Hurley made a full recovery and is back on the field, but more cautious. Better stay away from this one.
Coconut tree. Yes, coconut tree. You might be surprised to see this one here. After all, coconut trees are extremely valuable to humans. Different parts of the trees have their own uses. For example, fibre inside the coconut can be used for making ropes, mats, brushes, sacks and a whole lot more. The fruit itself contains sweet water, which is perfect for summers. The fronds can be used for creating roofs for houses and can even be used as kindling for fire. So a tree with so many uses couldn't possibly be dangerous, right? While it's true that the coconut tree by itself is not dangerous to humans, it's a combination of the coconut and gravity that can cause problems. It's reported that around 150 people die every year from coconuts falling on their heads. Though these incidents are few and far between, they still kill people. The coconut itself can weigh up to 2 kilos, and that, combined with the force of its falling, can land on someone's head at a weight close to a ton. So you wouldn't want to be around one during the season. Onga onga. Here's another example of a stinging plant like the Gimpy. The onga onga is endemic to New Zealand and is a large woody shrub. Like other stinging plants, the onga onga also has sharp spikes all around. If you're unlucky enough to walk through a patch of these stinging plants, you can expect severe reactions. The spikes contain a toxin called tryptophan and can cause rash, itching and inflammation if exposed to the naked skin. These symptoms can get a lot worse if you're exposed to a denser patch of these plants. They can include convulsions, confusion, a loss in motor movement, blurred vision, complete paralysis, and even death. There's only been one recorded fatality from the onga onga involving a hunter who wasn't properly dressed and died 5 hours after walking through a dense patch of these plants.
Spikes and grenades. A sandbox tree looks like something out of a nightmare. Touching the trunk of a sandbox tree with bare hands can result in a pierced palm. The tree is a native nightmare of the tropical regions of the US and South. It grows up to 100 feet tall and is known as the monkey no-climb tree. Its bark is covered with sharp dagger-like spikes that can reach up to 1 inch in length. The sandbox tree also secretes a sap, which is a potent irritant capable of blinding anyone. The tree protects its fruit, which resembles tiny, beautiful pumpkins. Once dried, these seed capsules are the botanical equivalent of hand grenades. Fully matured fruit, when it falls on the ground, explodes, flinging hard, flattened seed capsules at a speed of up to 150 miles per hour. The process helps them spread to greater distances, germinate and grow. Have you ever come across any of these hazardous trees somewhere? Which of these trees do you believe is the scariest? Do share your views with us in the comment section below. Do spare a few moments to subscribe to our channel so that you're the first to get our new astonishing videos.